Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. We're playing Blade and Sorcery today on the PC, and yes, it's another great day for murder, and I have a story for you today. Do you know what it would be like to have appendicitis for more than 20 years? Yeah, that's right, your old pal Orpheus has had to suffer through that. And it came to an interesting conclusion, and we'll talk about all of that today here on Orpheus Plays. I hope you're doing well wherever you are today, whether it is day or night. Hey, I don't care as long as you're here enjoying yourself with me. Now, we have 3 weapons that come out here in survival mode. I choose one, I beat up everything that comes out the doors. I know you're saying, Orpheus, choose the scythe, The scythes suck, just so you know. So instead, I'm going to grab this big thing right here. This is the Gada, yes, or the Gada, depending upon how you want to pronounce that. It is a big crown-looking thing. Okay, well, whatever. Let's get our first traditional slow-motion kill of the day out of the way right now. Here we go. Ooh. Well, that was messy. Oh my god. Anyway, with that out of the way, and with another one here. Come here. I want his head to go split. Nope. There we go. Now with those out of the way, good lord. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is appendicitis. Yeah, so this is... God, I gotta stop doing that or else this video is gonna be really interesting. Anyway, I want to talk about appendicitis. We all know what appendicitis is. When you all of a sudden you get the appendectomy that comes up, you get all those pains and everything, and you gotta go into the emergency room, and they're like, oh, we got it just in time. Or maybe you're unlucky enough that you've had it burst on you and you had to go get it taken out. Whoa, what is going on with the frame rate today? Anyway. Boy. So you know when you gotta go to get it taken, all that. Ooh, we've all had that sort of thing. And at least, you know, you've known someone that's had it happen if it hasn't happened to you. So, well, the symptoms of such a thing, well, they can range from nausea to pain to bloating to all sorts of things. You can feel sick, you can get a fever, you can have all sorts of issues with digestion and everything like that. And it's really unpleasant. You know, you get that pain, and it's usually, if you have it, well, you know, I'll get to that in just a couple of minutes here. The experience of actually waking up to that. Anyway, so appendicitis is kind of nasty. It's kind of dangerous, you know. That appendix can burst on you, and all of a sudden, oh my god, you know, there's this toxic thing that's inside your body that they need to like go in and carve out of you, and it can be pretty dangerous. You can go into something called septic shock or sepsis, where those where the infected tissue gets into your intestines and everything, and it's pretty gross. You know, it can cause a lot of complications. There you go, you missed. My turn. But you know, it is really not good to have your appendix burst. Well, okay. Usually for most people, you get appendicitis, and it's acute appendicitis, okay? So acute appendicitis is when it's a medical term that says, you know, something suddenly happened, right? Or is suddenly bad. So acute appendicitis is when you suddenly get appendicitis and you have to go and get it taken care of. Okay. Well, your old pal Orpheus here. Ooh, that was clean as butter. Just slid right through there. Your old pal Orpheus, for years, I've had so many issues. So, I guess I should start a little sooner. I should start a little further back in the Wayback Machine. That's, you know, wow. Let me get some of that pink mist. Oh, it's the blood of life. Blah, blah. Anyway, so... Let me go further back in time here, and we'll talk about the good old days. When your old pal Orpheus had, well, when I was 17, actually, we'll give it a date. Or at least an age, not necessarily a date. But, Your old pal Orpheus here. I keep saying that, but you know, hey, I'm a little heavy medicated today. I've been having some issues with anxiety and stuff, so I'm heavily medicated this morning. So it's morning for me, but whatever. Anyway, that is neither here nor there. Tangent complete. So when I was 17, I started noticing some pretty bad issues with my digestion. I was having a lot of stomach trouble. I was feeling, down and run down. I'd always tell my parents that I was having issues with going to the bathroom and stuff, and they were always like, "Yo, whatever, Orpheus, suck it up. You're just lying so you don't have to go to school," or something like that. And I was like, okay, whatever. Well, I kept bothering them, and finally, just to be completely just absolute dickheads like my parents were, take that. To be completely dickheads like my parents were, they decided, well, if he thinks he's got something wrong, we're going to go and see if that happens. Well, instead of sending me to, like a gastroenterologist or something, and maybe get some tests done or anything, like they have tests that you can do, like you take home a card and you smear some poop on it for a few days and then you send the card back, right? If you haven't done one of those, God, is that gross. Anyway, so there's stuff like that. They can give you a CT scan or an ultrasound or something like that to see if there's anything going on. No. Ooh, well, you just tripped and fell. That's for you. So my parents decided instead to send me to my father's internal medicine specialist, who was going to do a colonoscopy on me. Now, if you don't know what a colonoscopy is, I envy you. A colonoscopy is most possibly one of the grossest things that you can have done to you. Oh, look. It's art. I call it Lady Pin to Barrel. It's amazing. I will charge $600,000. Email me in the comments below. Anyway, so my parents go, well, he thinks he's got something. Let's send him to get a colonoscopy done. And I'm like, okay, whatever. No one had told me what was going on with that. If you're not aware, a colonoscopy is where they stick a camera up your backside and thread it through your intestines, and it's really unpleasant. The guy will sit there with the camera, and a lot of the times, especially back then, you would be awake for it. They would give you like some Valium or some other kind of sedative or something like that to keep you calm. But these days a lot of the places will just put you out. They'll completely knock you out for it. They'll put you under anesthesia so you don't have to interfere with the process or anything. Well, back then they didn't have that. At least not where I went. And so they gave, like I said, they gave me a little downer pill that was like, "Hey, you feeling good?" And it's like, yeah, I'm feeling all right now, man. Not as good as like the anxiety meds I have these days. Those are amazing, just so you know. They do incredible work for me. Why do I have all these karate people? That's for you, and one for you. Whoa, ooh, almost T-posed up. There you go. That also. Okay. So anyway. I go in for this colonoscopy, and it was most likely one of the most unpleasant experiences I've ever had in my life. It hurt, as you might imagine. They did have, I don't remember if they had anything special that they gave me for a little bit of numbing or anything. I don't think they did. It's not like they can like numb up your butthole or anything for it, You still feel it? Yes, I do. Nothing like that. But so they started going with this procedure, and I started to have a panic attack about 10 minutes into it. And it was extremely unpleasant to suddenly realize that there was like 2 feet of camera cable up my ass. And I was, I had a doctor that was taking a look inside me. Well, so here's what happened. That all got done. They had to end the test a little early because I was, like I said, I started to freak out. Anyway, what's going on with my frame rate today? Boy, I hope that's not too terrible for you guys. Anyway, so they get done with the test, and a couple days later, the report comes out on the test, and my parents find out, and I find out that I have polyps. Okay? Now, I'm not going to get all nasty and gross on this. I'm not going to explain anything about it or anything like that. Ooh, it's a book of knowledge. It's on fire. So I'm not going to get gross or anything, but polyps basically are like precursors. They're like signs that something might be going wrong with you, especially the kinds that I had. All right. Ooh. Nice job, bro. I'm going to do something here. This is fun. Here. One for you. And one for you. Oh, no. I don't think so. Dude. I am crushing your head. I'm crushing your head. I don't know if you could do that on your version of it. I'm crushing your head. Anyway, so polyps were there. They can be a precursor to learning about cancer and things like that inside you and all that stuff, like colon cancer, right? So, you want this? You want some of this? No, come here. Here we go. That was for you. Hi. And so they, the internist, internal medicine doctor says, yeah, we found polyps up in there, and he's like, well, that's a little concerning for your age. And he says, what you want to do is it's going to be preventative. You want to like make sure that you got you're keeping a monitor on it. But he says, what you want to start looking out for is nausea and pain and bloating and all those things. He says, that might be something that you'll have to deal with. God, that's so fun. Oh, it's so gross, but it's so fun. Anyway, so he says, you want to look out for pain and nausea and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I already have that all the time, dude. What are you even talking about? And he says, well, you should just keep an eye out for it. He says, if there's going to be any problems, it'll only be in 20 years or something like that. So just keep an eye on things. And, long story short, I saw 2 more internists, internal medicine specialists, years later. And they found the same thing, that they were polyps. And they said, hey, you really should start taking care of this. Well, life went on at that point, and I didn't have access to medical care and all that stuff because I was a lazy drifter, basically, for a while. And there were other things that were more important, like, partying and having fun. Because your old pal Orpheus here is an idiot. Anyway, don't be dumb, kids. Don't be dumb, everybody. Don't do it. Anyway, hold on. Come here. Oh, I want that. I want this thing. Anyway, so they kept telling me, around 30, 35 is when you'd start noticing things if it was going wrong. And at about that point was when I started noticing things going wrong. I was getting more and more nauseous all the time. I was having absolutely awful heartburn. I was taking just all sorts of stuff to take care of that. I was getting a fever once in a while that would go away. I was having bloating and digestive issues and everything, and it was horrible, right? And no one could ever find anything. I would go and get like a CT scan or an ultrasound or something done on my own, I'm not going to walk into a clinic and say, can you give me a colonoscopy, please? And so, so we get to the point where I'm about 35 years old. And I started noticing that I was getting weaker and weaker. And there was a point where I couldn't get out of bed. And I couldn't. I would spend maybe 4 hours a day useful. Oh boy. I would have maybe 4 or 5 hours a day where I was useful, and that started to go down and down. At one point, I was in a wheelchair. I had to be in a wheelchair in my home and outside the home, obviously, because I didn't have the strength. I couldn't do anything, right? And it was bad. And so the place where I was at that point didn't have a hospital within any reasonable distance. Like literally the closest hospital 4 hours away, something like that. And we were on a very very meager salary at that point, so things were not, I couldn't just go to the hospital. I couldn't just take an 8-hour drive whenever I wanted to. And so I started to do the stupid thing, which was I started asking doctors that I knew, and I started going and looking things up. Oh, you just got wasted. So did you! Ha ha! So I started being stupid and asking doctors and looking things up on the internet. And everything was pointing to cancer, right? Everything, because we couldn't find anything. There was nothing on the soft tissue stuff. There was nothing like, wow. There is our drama queen of the day! Ding, 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 ding. Person who refused to get off the screen and make noise until she interrupted my story. Anyway, so there I am, thinking I have cancer. I'm telling some of my friends that things are going very, very poorly in my life, and I was freaking out. I was absolutely freaking out. Well, I got better. Right? It took about 3 years. Yes, about 3 years of me being so weak that I couldn't stand or walk around in my own home, and I don't know what happened. I just started to suddenly get better. And when that happened, I was like, okay, well, wow, I grabbed the front of his skull and pulled it through the rest of his head. Anyway. So, I thought, well, I'm getting better. I probably don't have cancer or anything. Well, I did have an opportunity at that point to go see a doctor and get some actual, work done to see if that's what was going on. Well, we discovered it wasn't cancer, but I did have some GI issues. We thought that, a colitis or irritable bowel syndrome or other, some other kind of mildly unpleasant thing. Ew, man. What are you doing? Woo, hey, killer. Ha! Nope, my turn. That's the perfect go-to now. So this doctor, decided I don't have cancer, but I probably have ulcerative colitis or something like that. Some sort of GI issue, some sort of gastrointestinal issue that's going on. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes total sense, right? Okay, so flash to a year ago, and I'm feeling kind of nauseous, and I'm feeling kind of blech, right? It was more than a year ago. Well, no, it was almost a year ago. And I'm feeling nauseous, I'm feeling sick, I've got a fever going on, I'm not feeling well at all. And it's like, I'm trying to suffer through it. I got a little bit of pain going on down in here, right? I got a little bit of pain going on down on the side here. It's not so... I am not doing this. I promise. I'm not doing this. Oh, God. I don't know what that was. Anyway, so I'm not feeling great. And I tried to suffer through it. I was like, I'm going to try to not... not go to the hospital for this. This is, I'm about a 4 on the pain scale. I'm like, I've had worse, right? So I tried to suffer through it for another 2 days. I actually got Bone Lab on the headset here, and I was playing Bone Lab, and I was feeling so shitty. I actually returned Bone Lab because I thought that it was just the game making me sick. I'm trying to stay away from people here so I can finish the story without the frame rate going to hell. Anyway, so I actually returned it that day because I thought that the game was making me sick instead of, my appendix. And so I get to the point where I'm just like, I can't do it. I went to sleep and I woke up in the middle of the night and I was just like, nope, gotta go to the hospital. And turns out I had an appendix that was just about to burst. It had burst a little bit and it was starting to leak and everything. I told that story in another video, a couple other videos, where I discussed how that sort of emergency appendectomy happened, where I had to go to a bigger town via ambulance for 3 hours and stuff. Oh my God, that was awful. But that's a whole other video. Go find that one, appendectomy appendix. But what turns out happened is the entire time For more than 20 years, we found out, I had chronic appendicitis. I had my appendix ready to burst at any time. Any time this thing could have blown up on me over more than 20 years. That is insane, ladies and gentlemen. So here's my advice to you. You're feeling a little pain that's going on too much? Don't be prideful. Don't be stupid. Go to the hospital. Go to the hospital, get that done, and, get yourself safe and feeling good. And we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully with all of your faculties and most of the working body parts going on. Anyway, before the game crashes on me here, I don't know what's going on. I think I changed one of my settings. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one here on Orpheus Plays. Be good, do good, and treat yourself well, because you know what? You deserve it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.